today's episode, we're going to talk about probably right now the leader in the clubhouse for best picture of the year so far. And let me tell you, I have not seen a lot of good movies in 2026, but this one definitely was good. Stay tuned.
Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go. Whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come.
We will watch your career with great interest.
You are such a cute.
This is where the fun begins.
It's showtime.
And here we go.
Welcome into another episode of the Movie Geek Podcast. I'm your host, George T., and this is my review of Project Hail Mary. And as I said last week during the box office report, I really thought that this had potential to be one of the best movies of the year so far. And it did not disappoint. It really didn't. The storyline, just the acting brilliance of Ryan Gosling, and his alien sidekick, Rocky, voiced by his handler, instead of a regular voice actor or another actor. It was his his puppeteer, basically. James Ortiz was quite amazing. And I'll give you some fun facts about this movie as well. And let's just get started. So, obviously, if you've seen the trailer and you saw the marketing campaign, this was a movie about saving the Earth. So, Ryan Gosling's character, Grace, is a high school or college professor at a university. He is just a science guy. He's not an astronaut. When we first come upon him, he is in a coma on a ship. He is thrusted out of his hibernation coma and thrusted into a very scary situation. He woke up not knowing where he was, or who he was, or if anybody else was aboard the ship. So after he gets his feet underneath him, realizes, oh no, I'm in space, he needs to find somebody else on the ship. Unfortunately, as he's going deck to deck, he winds up finding the other two crew members. They have all deceased. So, we don't know why. Well, they are already dead. So, basically now Ryan is all alone in space, heading toward the sun. So Grace now has to figure everything out with the help of the computer, just giving him a trajectory as to where he was going. And this is also a movie about him trying to recover his memories throughout this film. So he jettisons the two dead bodies out, and he kind of just pauses the ship. He doesn't want to continue on the journey. He just wants to kind of figure everything out until a presence is detected in his vicinity, and he wants to know what it is. And it's just something that isn't recorded in the space logs. And so we see this massive ship that kind of sits right next to him. So he thinks, oh no, I'm going to be under attack. These alien, something is going to attack me. So he starts to move the ship, even though he has no piloting thing. He's not the captain, whatever, but he starts to try to move the ship. And the ship just kind of moves away a little bit the ship moves alongside of him. He's like, huh? So now he tries to maneuver away again. It follows him. Now he thrusts forward and back, and it just keeps following him. And it's a really funny scene. So he just says, fine, I'm going to give up. Then another projectile in his vicinity. So he takes a look on the screen, and he thinks it's a bomb because it fired this canister out toward him. So now he's trying to figure out where he should go, his evasive maneuver, but it winds up doinking off the ship and back toward the alien craft. So he says, okay, fine, it's not a bomb. It sends another one out, and another one, and another, and it's really hilarious. So now he has to figure out, okay, what are they trying to tell me? They won't communicate. So now he has to go do a spacewalk because it's firing them over to the ship, but nothing's happening. So he spacewalks out. He catches one of them, brings it back in. Now he doesn't know how to open it, obviously, so he's trying to figure it out as a scientist. Blah blah blah. Opens it up, and it's little like 3D models, or printed models. So he's trying to figure it out, and he notices that one of them is a spaceman, and the other one is a spaceship, his spaceship. So now, I don't know, he fires one back toward them. They fire one back to him. And now they try to, now the alien ship now grabs onto his ship, and they tunnel out, and now Grace has to figure out, okay, are they hostile, whatnot. So he's kind of gearing up. He goes through the walk. Nothing really happens. He goes deeper in, and he finds this kind of rocky, glassy wall. Can't see anything in there, so he's tapping on the tap, tap, tap. Finally, the one jump scare. This rock-like thing just pops his hand up there. Kind of scares him away. So now they have this kind of back and forth where they're tapping this tap, tap, tap. He's trying to communicate. It's trying to communicate to him, but the language is not there. So, as a scientist, he goes back on the ship. He jerry-rigs a laptop with some other material. He now tries to record this creature that looks rock. Like, think Galaxy Quest, the rock figures, kind of like that, but on a way smaller scale. But, he's asking questions and listening for responses, and the program that he has starts to form words. So now he's like, okay, now I'm going to speak into it, and maybe it'll translate back. So he's worked on this the whole time. So finally, all these words, and he walks away from it, but he can't read it when it's trying to talk. So he comes up with a way to get it to talk through the machine, and it runs through 5 or 6 different voices. So you hear certain voices, and one little funny one was he tried to have Meryl Streep's voice, and you can hear her voice in the translation and so on. But so ultimately, it winds up on his puppeteer, James Ortiz, and they, now he tries to come up with a name for his new friend. So obviously, his new friend knows he's Grace, so he calls him Rocky. And Rocky steals this movie. Ryan and Rocky are amazing in this film. They made you laugh. They made you cry. Yes, I had some tears. Not gonna lie. There were some scenes that were, again, you've got to put yourself in his shoes. He's literally could be the last person on Earth. So as the story is progressing, we're starting to get bits and pieces of his backstory. He was assigned a task to help the astronauts go take this one-way mission to the sun. They were going to have enough fuel to get to the sun, and then they were either going to die in space or take their own life, and the ship was going to just kind of float out there until somebody came and picked it up, which is kind of odd to me that uh, that you would have such a one-way trip without just leaving, I don't know, $100 billion spaceship out there or something. I have no idea, but it's kind of lost in this whole thing because we're trying to save the Earth at this point. So the Earth is basically now just an explosion waiting to happen. Volcanoes are erupting everywhere, and it's getting out of control. But the sun has a property that Earth apparently needs to come back and stop all of this from happening. And they have 30 years basically to save the Earth. The trip out there is going to be at least, I think it was, like a month or two. So, so they, no, 11 days. I'm sorry, because you only had 30 days. So it was only 11 days out there with enough fuel. So, you know, he is trying to help the astronauts understand what this matter means, how to collect it, so on and so forth. And um, again, he and Rocky are working together. Now, Rocky cannot go aboard his ship without special features. So he winds up coming into like a hamster ball kind of thing. And he is just roaming around. There's a funny scene where he rolls um, into a couple areas and he's yelling dirty, dirty, dirty. Why is this thing a mess? And Grace goes, I wasn't expecting company. And I kind of liken it to, I looked at George because George came with me and I'm like, sounds familiar. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Your room, when we go in it. Dirty, dirty, dirty. So it's kind of, it was kind of like that. So again, they just kind of feed off each other, and Grace is trying to teach Rocky about this, and Rocky is trying to teach Grace about stuff. So, they get to this sentimental moment where Rocky tells that Grace that he has a companion, and they've been together 138 life cycles, and and Grace says, "Well, I don't have anybody at home. I had somebody, but a guy named Mark took my woman." And then Rocky says, "I hate Mark," and we all died laughing. It was one of those moments. So again, they're working on a solution to combat, and they realize that they are doing the same mission, and they're the only ones left on their ship. Um, Rocky says that he has, or he had 30 crew members, and now he's the only one left. And so Grace says, well, we're going to get you back to your planet so you can save your planet, and I will send my findings back. And Rocky doesn't understand that Grace is not going home. So that whole thing. Now, getting back to the reason why he was in space, there is the whole backstory of there was a massive explosion on the launch site that killed basically all the backup astronauts. So there was only 2 people to pilot the ship and collect the data. Played Olesa was played by Melina von Troop. She is the former AT&T commercial lady that you saw during all those AT&T commercials back in um, the early 20, 2010, through that whole range. And the other captain was played by Ken Loog. And they weren't in this movie very long. And they were just telling Grace that, he's the only one that can really help them in this mission because nobody else can. And Grace says, I'm not an astronaut. I don't want to go to space. I have no training, nothing else. And they're like, oh no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Meanwhile, the head of this expedition to sending these astronauts out into space, Eva, played by Sandra Holler, is trying to pump Grace up and tell him, hey, you're my guy. We all believe in you. You know this mission back and forth, and like the back of your hand. We need you to go. And he seriously refuses to go. So we get into the part now where they have to grab the centrifuge. In the centrifuge, the I forget what they call it, astroform or something like that is killing things in space. And so they collect it, but it is a harrowing mission where the ship almost kind of blows up because the hull gets breached, and it's nerve-wracking and so on. And Rocky winds up having to save Grace, which almost kills Rocky because he had to come out of his bubble to drag him to his medical facility. So finally, they get everything collected, samples, they're off, off their separate ways. And Grace is all tucked in, ready to go, and he is interrupted by a breach from the samples. They were eating through the material and could have caused him to die in his sleep. So now he has a choice. He can go all the way back home, where he doesn't feel really trusted, because there's one scene where Eva sent people in to induce him into the coma and throw him on the ship. Or to go and save Rocky, because he knows Rocky's going to be in trouble, and the fact that that ship will go back to his home and probably destroy his home from the radiation that this stuff is going to send his way. So he winds up making the decision to go and find Rocky and not go home. So, and of course, they reunite, they work together to find a solution, and they live to tell another story. It's a really, really good movie. You've got one guy who, again, has no experience on anything, from a guy who is stuck in the middle of space talking to an alien rock on a basically suicide mission, to just the friendship that they made, just the back and forth of them talking. I mean, there was just so many funny lines in this movie, and Grace is trying to make videos to send back to Earth, and Rocky can hear him from another room, and it's just, there was so many comedic moments in that film, and it is, like I said, it is a really wonderful film. Now, some interesting facts about this film. This is one of the first movies, a space movie, mind you, that did not use green screen or blue screens. Why is that significant? Well, because you would have thought that encapsulating a space movie, you usually use the blue screens, filmed footage, that sort of thing, or you only build enough walls and then CGI, blue screen, green screen, the rest in. What they did is they built an entire set to model this spacecraft. They also put it on the hydraulics, and they actually moved it to simulate space movement. So when Ryan Gosling is moving through that ship, and the cameras get all wonky and sideways and that way, and it looks like he is struggling to move around in there, that is real. He is really struggling to get through. So it is authentic in that regard. And that's amazing to me that, again, a studio would not use blue screen or green screen to film a space movie. I mean, that's just incredible to me. One of the other fun facts is that originally they were going to just use CGI to put Rocky into the film. But because Ryan was basically in there alone with the cameras outside and a few inside, he was kind of alone. So what they wound up doing was they said, well, we'll make Rocky from a 3D printer. They literally made this robot out of a 3D printer and put it in front of him, put it in that ball, and then moved him around in there. And that is quite unique as well because, again, they could have just CGI'd him in or filmed certain spots with, some kind of a animatronic or whatever, but they made a 3D model of it, and it all works. It really does. One of the other cool things is they they asked NASA to shoot up an IMAX camera into the stratosphere and get some of those cool shots of the of outer space. I think, again, all innovative stuff. So not only is this movie really good, but the fact again that they didn't use a green screen, blue screen, they used a 3D printer for Rocky. I mean, there's probably plenty more things out there, and can't wait to see, like, if they do a DVD release eventually, maybe some deleted scenes, maybe a comedic role, one of those, um, deleted scene things where, they're interacting together and, coming up with lines and stuff, because again, it was a really funny film, and sad at times, you know. All right, so with that being said, I honestly give this 2 thumbs way up, and this is honestly one of the first movies I could say in the first 3 months that is worth being on my top 25 and high up there too. And the only other movie that came close was Send Help. So far, 2 movies on my top 25, and I've seen a lot of movies so far this year. And I can't say with a lot of certainty any of them were anywhere near top 25 status. So, but again, we've got a long way to go with movies this year. But if Ryan Gosling does not get Oscar nom, just like Rachel McAdams not getting Oscar noms next year for their work in these films, there should be something wrong with the Academy. I really do. So if you've seen it, comment down below that if you liked it or not. And I don't know of anybody I've seen out there right now who has had one bad thing to say about this movie. I know it probably will finish number 1. We'll find that out on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. But I think it will finish number one. Now, the reason why I say that is because Friday's opening day was $33.1 million. It is the biggest non-franchised movie opening in a very long time. So, there's that. So, will I think it will stay at number one next week? Most likely. I don't see anything on the horizon until maybe, when I put my air quotation up, maybe Super Mario Galaxy. That comes out the Wednesday, April 1st. So I think it'll be back-to-back weeks. So that'll be great because we just had Hoppers that was, 2 straight weeks. So we're starting to see a little bit of separation with movies staying at number one. Of course, that's not going to keep as we get closer and closer to that summer start season where you're going to have blockbusters after blockbusters. And there'll be times where there's blockbusters, not a week, and then blockbuster. So, there's a lot of ways to go. But anyway, check out the rest of the week and check out shorts coming up, and I will see you all at the movies.
You like that, baby? Let him know where I came from, yeah!
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's all, folks.